Yeah.
Shalom Alechem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, v'melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barachuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. La 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 Feitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi-melech, malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, welcome.
Shabbat Shalom.
So glad to see everybody, and welcome to those who are live streaming. We feel your presence, and we're glad that you are with us. We begin with the prayer for the candles. You can find the reading on page 3. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. I want to spend a moment or three with you on one of the great climaxes in the biblical narrative. This occurs in Exodus chapter 24. The people have left Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, arrived at Mount Sinai, received the Ten Commandments, and then Moses delivers one of the Bible's three law collections, Exodus 21 through 23. In chapter 24, Moses calls the people together for a convocation and for a decision. Moses went and repeated to the people all the commands of the Lord and all the rules, and all the people answered with one voice, saying, "All these things which the Lord has commanded, we will do." Vaya'an kol ha'am. The entire people gather together, recognizing that they have been summoned, and they speak with one voice. All that the Lord has commanded, we will do. And when it says all the people, it means both collectively and one at a time, each individual. Here the people are united. Soon, as we know, with the golden calf incident, the people will express their diversity along a very wide spectrum. But here, as a people, they recognize that they are called to make an affirmation. Those of us who have not voted yet have an obligation and an opportunity to recognize that we, as American citizens, are also summoned. And by voting, whatever our differences are, and they are many, we recognize that we have a common obligation to lift our voice, express our loyalty to America, and to be sure that we sustain the community that we are. So I encourage all of us, those of us who have not yet voted, to do so on Tuesday and to call neighbors and friends who may not have voted to encourage them as well. Our people was summoned at a crucial spot early in our history, and we as a people are summoned today. We turn in our prayer books now to page 26, and I invite you to rise for the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
ויעלמא דברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון נוב יומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה
ובזמן קריב.
וימרו
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתבאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה
Barechu.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
Shbechata v'nechemata damiran bialma. Amen. Page 28 for the call to worship. page 33. Let us read together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malachuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad.
We read together. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. You may be seated. We join together on page 36 for the chanting of the V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al bavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shachvecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkaru va'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher
hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim
להיות לכם
Elohim
אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together on page 36. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohechem Emet. On page 41, Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. On page 45, we are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We turn now to page 46, and as you are able, I invite you to rise for the Amida.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Nora, El Hayom, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניכם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייך כל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורה ונאמנת על החיות הכל.
ברוך אתה אדוני
מחיי
מחיי
הכל.
On page 53, days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, touched by clay, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated.
Ritzi Adonai Eloheinu, b'ramecha Yisrael, u'tefilatam b'yahava
Let's read together on page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamvarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav HaYisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam.
We have moments now for silent prayer.
Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. V'imru amen, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. V'imru amen, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael. V'imru amen, amen. V'imru amen, amen.
Shabbat Shalom. It is nice to see you here, and it is nice to know that there are some of you out there watching us. And it is especially nice to be here on this Shabbat of Lech Lecha, the Shabbat that in certain ways launches the Jewish story. And I think it's important for us to understand this Shabbat, this moment of Lech Lecha, the moment of the beginning of the Jewish journey, the moment of the seed, if you like, of the Jewish story and the Jewish journey. And our sages understand it in context. They understand it against the backdrop of what has come before. The commentators and sages of Israel look at the story of Abraham, look at the story of Lech Lecha, and think of it in the context of other stories of remarkable humanity and of righteousness. And especially they compare Noah, whom we read about last week, and Abram, whom we read about this week. With regard to Noah, if you recall, and these words reverberate for us in our minds, chapter 6 of the book of Genesis, the very beginning of the Torah portion of Noah, starts with Noach ish tzadik tamim haya bedorotav. Noah was a righteous and tamim, whole person in his generations. And then et ha'elohim hithalech Noach. With God, Noah walked, and the word walked here, hithalech, I'm going to focus on in a moment, but I'll just note right now it's a reflexive word. It's not just walked, it's Noah walked for himself, with himself, somehow with God. But the very beginning of the Torah portion of Noah speaks of Noah not only as a tzaddik, as a righteous person, but as a tamim, as a whole person. The rabbis look at this and try to think, well, what does it mean? What does the word tamim here mean? Tamim is generally not used with regard to people. It's generally used with regard to sacrifices. And generally the sacrifice that is thought of as tamim is the lamb or the goat or the kid that is tamim. In other words, that is without blemish. The tamim is not so much the righteous person who acts righteously in the world. The rabbis teach us that tamim is a person or the thing that is without blemish, without flaw, that has not had the time or the experience of being somehow blemished, or somehow scratched, or somehow injured, or somehow flawed. The notion of Noah as an ish tzaddik tamim, as a person who is righteous and whole, is a person not so much of Noah in terms of Noah's action, but in terms of what Noah had not experienced. In fact, throughout the Torah portion, Noah is a kind of outlier. He is marginal to humanity. All of the generation of Noah were sinners. They were people who engaged in terrible oppression, in all kinds of horrific practices. Noah would not. Noah is understood to be the person who was a tamim, in other words, who was whole in the context of a generation of sinners. Here we have a really interesting notion of what righteousness means. The rabbis go as far as to explain Noah and the righteousness of Noah in the context of commandments that are negative. Thou shalt not. The righteousness of Noah was the righteousness of the person who enables him or herself to not engage in practices that are sinful practices. The person who does not kill, the person who does not steal, the person who does not bear false witness, the person who does not. That is the kind of righteousness we're talking about with regard to Noah. When Noah walks with God. Noah walks, hitalech, it says here, et ha'elohim hitalech Noah. The notion of Noah walking is not a notion of Noah walking the earth, but walking with God. And somehow walking in a reflexive way. The rabbis think about Noah as some kind of a mystic, a person who walks in the higher spheres. This notion of Noah as somehow a person who is not completely of this earth. Noah in itself means rest. In terms of the earthly life of Noah, Noah is a person who is associated with rest, with staying in place. The only walking, the only movement that Noah engages in is with God, is that movement in the higher spheres. And we see that, and the rabbis see that, in the context of the Noah portion. There are a number of places where there are signals of this that are evident. If you recall in chapter 7, right? Vayhi hamabul 40 yom vayirbu hamayim, right? Vayis'u et hateva, it says, vatarem me'al haaretz. The flood lasted 40 whole days. For 40 days, the earth flooded. And the earth rose, the waters rose and rose and rose above the earth. And they carried the ark above the earth, right? They carried the ark above the earth. And the ark was lifted above the earth. Imagine this ark kind of lifted above mountains, above, like hovering above the waters. Vayigberu hamayim vayirbu vatelech hateva al pnei hamayim, it says. And the waters grew, the mayim grew, and became taller and taller. And the ark, it says, walked. The ark walked on top of the water. The walking of Noah was with God. The walking of the ark was not on earth. It was somehow suspended between heaven and earth on top of the water. And then, chapter 8, at the end of the flood, Vayashuvu hamayim me'al haaretz, haloch vashov, the waters withdrew from the earth, they walked away and receded. Vatanach hativa. The ark rested. When it met the earth, the ark rested. Noah never moved. On earth, Noah never moved. The only place Noah moved with was spiritually with God, and somehow the ark moved on the water. It walked on the water, suspended between heaven and earth. Back on earth, Noah never moves. Consider Abraham. Vayomer Elohim el Avram, Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladetcha u'mibeit avicha el haaretz asher ar'eka ve'escha legoy gadol va'avarechecha va'gadla shmecha ve'heye bracha. What is the first thing we learn about Abraham, the first commandment of the Jew? Go forth for yourself from your land, from the place of your birth, from the house of your parents, to the land that I will show you. Not walk around somewhere with God, hover between heaven and earth, where the ark is going to walk on water. I never saw that, by the way. I don't quite know how they managed it, the ark walking on water. But walk from one place to the other. Go on a journey. Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladetcha u'mibeit avicha. An earthly travel. Not only an earthly travel that will mean some kind of spiritual journey, but go be a blessing to other nations. Go be a blessing to other people. Interact with other people. Not only a spiritual journey wherein we elevate ourselves, we somehow reach to a place wherein we are hanging between heaven and earth, but go to a place wherein you move the needle. You make change. You create progress. You bring blessing. An earthly journey. And a journey that says right from the very beginning, Lech lecha me, go from el haaretz asher ar'eka, and go to. The journey entails a leaving, a departure, as well as a destination. Leaving, departure from your land, from the house of your birth, from the house of your parents, from the place you know, into the unknown, into the unclear, into something that is not quite a reality yet, that hopefully will be a blessing. Suddenly, we're in the real world. And suddenly, we're in the real world of the journey. The great Oliver Goldsmith, in the year 1764, published a poem called The Traveller that was eventually published with the help of Dr. Johnson, and spoke about his journey. And I wonder whether Abram felt the same way about his journey, about leaving a sense of home, or perhaps the illusion of home. He wrote the following words: "Eternal blessings crown my earliest friend, and round his dwelling guardian saints attend. Blessed be that spot where cheerful guests retire to pause from toil and trim their evening fire. Blessed that abode where want and pain repair, and every stranger finds a ready chair. Blessed be those feasts where mirth and peace abound, where all the ruddy family around laugh at the jests or pranks that never fail, or sigh with pity at some mournful tale, or press the bashful stranger to his food and learn the luxury of doing good. But me not destined such delights to share, my prime of life in wandering spent and care, impelled with steps unceasing to pursue some fleeting good that mocks me with the view, that like the circle bounding earth and skies allures from far, yet as I follow, flies, and find no spot of all the world my own." But then Abram is called not only to leave Ur Kasdim, the place of his birth, but then to move the house of his father and mother in Haran and go off to a land that would never be his. Abram never finds home, travels through the land of Israel, from the land of Israel to Egypt because of a drought, to Gerar, to Beersheba, to be buried in Hebron. Perhaps at the very end of this poem by Oliver Goldsmith, The Traveller, I think Oliver Goldsmith offers us a prayer. And I'd like to imagine that it is Abram's prayer. It is the true prayer of the person journeying and not quite finding home. Here is what he writes: "Vain, very vain, my weary search to find that bliss which only centers in the mind. Why have I strayed from pleasure and repose to seek a good each governance bestows? In every governance, though terror reign, though tyrant kings or tyrant rules restrain, how small of all that human hearts endure, that part which rules or rulers can cause or cure. Still to ourselves in every place consigned, our own felicity we make or find. With secret course which no loud storms annoy, glides the smooth current of domestic joy. The lifted axe, the agonizing wheel, Luke's iron crown, and Damien's bed of steel. To us, remote from power, but rarely known, leave reason, faith, and conscience all our own. Amen be to that. This Shabbat and every Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. At this moment, our minds turn to those who are in need of healing, who are in need of special blessing, who are in need of strength, who are in need of our sympathy. As my hand turns over your section of the congregation, I would like you to mention those that you think of at this moment, and then we will share other names that you have shared with us so that we may pray the Mishaberach for all who are on our minds. To these names, we add the names of Karen Alenick, Amelia Hegarty, Mattie Jefferson, Don Cates, Walter McCoyd, Richard Moore, Betty Pickus, Edith and Levi Rubenstein, Bob Shippey, and Rachel Chana Bat Sharon Venoach Mordechai. We can turn to page 253 now and let us join together in the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikol Chabracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mikor Chabracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
I invite you to now turn to page 282 and to please rise and join us in the Aleinu.
Aleinu Adona kola date gedula liot sebrishid Shelo asanu kigoya aratzot Vilo samanu kimishpachot adama Shelo samechakenu gahem Vigor aleinu kichola monam ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated.
I waken from a dream at night, listening for a word. Was it you or was it me, wondering what I heard? Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. May we stand upon their shoulders, lifted toward the light. May the lives they led serve to guide our paths ahead and be for all our days like psalms of praise. When I fall and when I fail, I turn my heart to prayer. The darkness in my soul gives way, knowing you are there. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. May we stand upon their shoulders, lifted toward the light. May the lives they led serve to guide our paths ahead and be for all our days like psalms of
יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה, רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved, their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. At this time, we remember those whose memories fill our hearts, those who are no longer with us, but we think of often. I invite you to please share the name of anyone that you are thinking of if you are in a period of Shiv'ah, Shloshim, or are marking a yahrzeit as my hand reaches you. To those names we add David Bentovich, Renee Freidos, Marvin Lucan, Nicole Alexandra Khan, Eunice Selma Curtis, Marsha Wolof Froenthal, Kevin Joseph Kelly, Rhoda Rosen, Mo Savransky, Cindy Evans, Linda G. Felder, Earl Marsh, Beatrice Louise Mitchell, William R. Rossner, Sheila Roth. And those whose yahrzeit fall at this time: Lily Bassett, Jackie Bursu, Marion Block, Estelle Chapman, Harold Chapman, Dora Chavinson, George H. Cohen, Rose Graver Cohen, Hendy Kolov, Nathan R. Cornsweet, Ruth Broman Danasow, Minnie Dempsey, Arnold J. Eisenberg, Bertha Hayes Eisenman, Dora Elsner, Samuel Farkas, Clarence Fischel, Simon Fox, Bess Mandelkorn Fuldauer, Esther H. Gimp, Julius Gold, Ann Goldstock, Rose Goodman, Sadie Brown Goodman, Lillian R. Gray, Rabbi Moses J. Grease, Luis E. Gruber, Irving K. Heller, Dora Henkin, Helen K., Maurice E. Kessler, Alvin Lewis Kate, Peter E. Klein, Harry D. Koblitz, Louis A. Cohn, Lawrence G. Larry Krause, Louise S. Cux, Charles M. Luton, Todd Aaron Levitt, Jean Yolson Levin, Morris Levin, Rose Lichtig, Pauline Weinstein Lockwood, Nora Stern Loeb, Peggy Pearl Loveman, Gertrude Mann, Jean S. Marks, Max Paul Meyer, Maurice S. Miller, Al B. Monis, Max Morris, Z. A. Moss, Rose F. Oppenheimer, Earl Presand, Shirley Rubin, Merrill David Sands, Edward Chagrin, Joseph W. Schiffer, Teresa Senor, Mary O. Shapiro, Morton A. Shaw, Harold Smith, Evelyn Stark, Leo Stern Galans, Joseph Edward Stone, Robert Mayer Thomas, Rufus M. Ullman, Edwin H. Wheel, Henry H. Weiskopf, Edith G. Zeman, and Richard D. Zip. If you are at this time in a period of Shiva or have lost someone in the last 7 days, I invite you to please rise as you are able. If you are in a period of Shloshim or have lost someone in the last 30 days, I invite you to please rise. And if you are marking a yahrzeit at this time, I invite you to please rise. And I invite everyone to please join me on page 294 and please rise as a caring community. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ועלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה לשמי קדושה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May their memories be for a blessing, and together we all say amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. It has become our custom here to share moments of joy at this time. So I invite anyone who is celebrating a special moment, a birthday, an anniversary, or wants to share something exciting at this time, to please do so, Deutsches. You've been outed. Carol's birthday. When is your birthday, Carol? November 1st. Mazal Tov. I hope you had a fabulous celebration. Marshall Griffith, doctor.
On Halloween, one of my ritual
Hey now, one of Dr. Marshall Griffith's originals, what was it called again? Halloween Fantasy. We should play that at services one time. Was played. Right. Wow, Mazal Tov, Marshall. That's wonderful. Anyone else? Yes, Blaze.
I told Rabbi Jim that I'm gonna publish a book talk about my artwork.
Blaze is going to publish a book with her artwork.
Wonderful.
We can't
Awesome,
wait to own
Blaze.
a copy. Thanks, Blaze.
Yep.
Yes. Josh turned 15. Mazel tov. What is it?
18.
18. I missed. I'm sorry. When was the birthday? 21st or 31st? 21st.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
You can vote.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov on the new
Beautiful.
baby and the naming. That's so wonderful and meaningful. Well, I feel like Asher Hechianu is in order.
Please sing with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Our closing song this evening is Tov Lehodot.
It is not.
It is not.
It was.
It was.
But then I realized it's Parsha Lech Lecha.
That's right.
So it's Lechi Lach, which is on your handout. I hope you'll join in singing. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach, Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechi lach. You shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, lechi lach.
We join together here or at home to bless the wine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hilchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'ei kodesh zeicher yitziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinachaltanu baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. You want the microphone for Motzi? You want to sing the Motzi in the microphone? Okay. Do you want to hold it together? Motzi lachem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together. As our prayer home you said, V'chantanai, V'hinu me'hanan, V'nsi behemi ha'aretz. Amen.
I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Please help yourselves to a little bit of challah on your way out.